Okay, so this is going to be some painful truths that some of you are going to have to internalize, but I titled this video, In Relationships, You Are Either the Manipulator or You Are Getting Manipulated. Healthy doesn't exist, and I'm going to explain why. Now keep in mind, this is what I mean by this entire video, this entire presentation when I say this. This does not mean go out there in the world and go be toxic to anyone that you're dating. Instead, what I want you to remember at all times is what I'm showing you is why it is so important to hold firm on what you know to be true. Because here's the fact. The word manipulation does not necessarily have to have a negative meaning associated to it, and here's why. If I wanted to lose weight, let's say, or let's say I wanted to burn more fat or whatever I do with my workout routine, I will give you an example. I can manipulate my macronutrient ratios to put me into a caloric deficit so that way I lose weight. Or I could manipulate my macronutrients to put me into a caloric surplus so I gain weight. The act of the manipulation that I'm describing in this video is not for anything good or bad. I am just explaining this video as is. Okay, so that's what I mean by this. In a relationship, you are either the manipulator or you are getting manipulated, and healthy does not exist, and I will explain why. This idea of healthy where both people come together and nobody is entered into a dynamic of seduction, nobody is testing the other person's interest level, that is not how it works. So keep that in mind. Here's what I can tell you, and here's why this is so important. If you are the one getting manipulated, she is getting bored. I'm going to say that again. If you are the one getting manipulated, that means she is getting bored. Now here's another uncomfortable truth about this. If you show that you are able to be manipulated, hypergamy is no longer satisfied due to the fact that you're a man who is now easily controllable. And on top of that, you're willing to be led astray by her words because you believe what she's telling you. So I'm going to take this at an even deeper level. Here's what you have to know. If she's the one doing the manipulation and you are easily manipulated, she will not love you and hypergamy is not satisfied. So what you have to really realize at an internal level, like at a very deep level, the entire root of this process, or the entire root problem here that I'm trying to describe is this. Women hide or keep secret from you that manipulation is part of their entire dating strategy naturally. Well, why do I say naturally? I say naturally because they don't have to try to do this. This just happens. And I'm going to explain why. As you guys know through this channel, I have a reason for everything. I come well prepared. Now these are just my own beliefs. I advise you not to believe them if you don't want to. If my beliefs align with your beliefs, I advise you to believe them. I'm not here to influence you. I'm just here to show you on this channel how I think. So women will hide or keep secret from you that manipulation is part of their entire dating strategy naturally, and I will explain why right now. Number one, how I look at this, okay, is from the fact or from the point, or basically from the angle that they are all Eve, okay? They're all Eve. What that means is, number two, she's seeing if you are stupid enough to be Adam, okay? Now Adam was easily led astray by her words. This is not good. That means number three, what I'm explaining to you is this: being stupid enough, which means you being Adam, okay? Being stupid enough equals you trusting her words and what she says. Keep that in mind. You being stupid enough and actually trusting the words that are coming out of her mouth is exactly what Adam did, which is exactly why, the way the story goes, all hell broke loose and things were not good. Okay? Now keep in mind, this story may be true, this story might not be true. I don't know. Okay, I'm 28 years old. I can only give you the advice that I think about, that I can come to terms with my own head, with my own brain. I have no idea, right? Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't, but it's a hell of an analogy. I'm going to just say that. It's a hell of an analogy, and it does line up pretty perfectly to damn near everything you will probably experience in your dating life, because I will tell you this one thing. From ages 18 to 28, in a 10-year span, that exact situation has played out every single time. I have seen these exact situations play out. It's really funny. I think oftentimes God will almost like talk to you through your intuition or through how you view things. And I think that when certain things like click for you in your brain and you hear certain things or you notice certain things, I think that that's your subconscious actually saying, hey, pay attention to this. So I'll give you an example. I was on a date a couple days ago and I can't remember what she said to me, but I looked at her and I go, really? That's what you're going to say? And she laughs, and it was playful, but she goes, oh, don't trust what I say. That's what she said. And I just thought it was funny, right? Because it clicked, and it's like, yep, that's pretty much everything that I talk about. So this is how I view this. Being stupid enough equals you trusting her words and what she says. So what does that mean, right? That means if you trust her words, you will be manipulated. Now, I know that that is a hard truth to swallow because the idea that you have of her, see, this is the preconceived notions or this is the conditioning that a lot of guys were raised to believe or that a lot of guys had, right? Is you look at this woman that's your girlfriend or your wife or whatever the case may be, and because the concept of love is two people coming together and being healthy towards each other and working towards each other and being there for one another, you automatically assume that that other person has positive intentions towards you. Because you think to yourself, okay, chemistry, love, dynamic, two people, romance, positive energy, and good vibes. That's what you think is, it's all that good stuff coming together. But then what happens in your actual dating life when you watch this play out is you see that that's completely false oftentimes. Okay, so here's what I can tell you. What all this means is that means if you trust her words, you will be manipulated, led astray, and put through emotional hell. And as soon as you start to trust her words, what I believe happens in her subconscious mind is she goes, doesn't listen to rational truth, not strong enough to have his own worldview, I can now easily influence him, and I can control him. Therefore, he's not strong, and I don't want him, and I don't respect him. I believe that those are the things that occur to her in her mind if she notices those patterns about you. Now keep in mind, all of those different strength characteristics that you don't have, none of that has to do with your biceps. Okay? So the reason why I'm telling you that is because there's so many men in the gym, more muscle, more money, more status, but they don't understand the root. And the root of the entire dating dynamic between men and women is that she's constantly testing your internal fortitude, because I have a saying. I believe that women don't necessarily see men from the outside in. I believe that they see men from the inside out. Constantly with every sentence, she's pulling things out of you verbally to really get an idea of, hey, what is this guy made of? What makes this man himself? Why is he like this? What is his competency level? Your strength is shown internally. And I know that that's a hard thing to comprehend, but that's how I view this. This is how my brain processes dating interactions, okay? So what I believe is, if you trust her words, you will be manipulated, led astray, and put through emotional hell. So for so many guys out there, you know, maybe you comment on my channel or you are constantly asking yourself, hey, how do I hold frame? How do I make sure I'm doing the right thing? How do I know what to say at what point? How do I know what I should do or what I shouldn't do? Okay, listen to me very closely. When I am interacting with a woman, every text message, every call on the phone, every phone call, right? Every interaction that I have with her in real life, I maintain frame by constantly asking myself and saying this one thing. I say, how is she potentially manipulating me? How is she potentially manipulating me? Is she manipulating me or my internal emotional state in any way, shape, or form right now as I'm with her? I am constantly asking myself that. And I'm screening, right? And as I'm screening, I'm using some discernment to see what her intentions are. Because you have to understand, I believe the reason why this is rooted in majority of the dating interactions or the overall dating strategy that women have towards men, the reason why I believe this is because of the simple analogy, right? In the story, it was the serpent that deceived Eve. So I believe that it's not even necessarily her own choice of doing it, of like, hey, I'm going to purposefully be deceiving towards this guy, I believe that some of this just happens. Now, I have no proof of that, right? I can't go back however many years, 1 billion years or whatever, and identify and tell you, hey, you know, this is exactly what happened and the story is completely true. I don't know. But I do know this, it's a hell of an analogy, isn't it? It's pretty crazy how it seems to almost always work out in my own dating life this way if I choose to ignore some of these signs that eventually come up. Funny how that works. I'm a guy just like you, right? I don't know everything, but I can do my best on this channel to try to help you to the best of my ability. So I maintain frame by saying, hey, how is she potentially manipulating me? Now, once again, I don't think manipulation is good or bad, it just is. Every single word has a dictionary definition, okay? I can manipulate my macronutrient ratios so I gain weight, or I can manipulate my macronutrient ratios so I lose weight. But regardless, I am manipulating my macronutrient ratios, and that doesn't make it good or bad, it just is. Keep that in mind. So I have even more things to say about this whole concept here. If you don't trust her words, just know that you will be called every mean name in the book. Every mean name that you can think of in the book, you will probably be called if you don't trust her words. You will be called mean. You might be called an asshole. There might be personal attacks or verbal attacks at your ego and your character and who you are. People might say that you're a bad person. Who gives a shit? Right? Let people talk. There's an old saying people say, right? I don't know who made this up, right? I don't know who made this up, but I know it is a saying, and the saying is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Okay? So words can't hurt me. You could say anything that you want. I don't really care because it goes in one ear and out the other. And I sleep like a baby at night because I'm tired usually from working out, right? So if you don't trust her words, just know that you will be called every mean name in the book. You're going to be called an asshole. You might be called mean. You might have verbal attacks thrown at your ego. But just know that this is manipulation in and of itself to attempt to change your emotional state and your internal worldview. Your job is still to operate through truth. Your job is still to stay calm, stoic, and rational. Now, you need to understand this. You need to understand that she will only be faithful to a man that she cannot control or manipulate emotionally. Okay? Emotionally. A man who she cannot control emotionally and a man that she cannot manipulate emotionally to change his internal state of emotion, this is the only type of man that she can be faithful to and that she can respect. Because if you fall to the temptation or to the beauty, similar to how I believe Adam probably did in the story, you are typically met with some kind of emotional pain. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what I did was I crafted 5 specific steps that you can do and that you can use and that you can apply in order to make your dating life better. Okay? Because here's what I can tell you. If you listen to these 5 steps, you're going to watch yourself have a more peaceful internal state. You're going to be less focused on lust. And on top of that, you're going to be able to create the right dynamic with the woman that you're dating so she respects you. And that way it lasts. So if you do find her really attractive, if you do find her beautiful, if she is a great woman that you would want to be with, then I just want to help you have the skills to make sure that that happens. Okay? So there's 5 steps to navigate this. Number 1. Never under any circumstances let her emotional state detract you from rational truth. Pretty important concept, isn't it? Right? You feel me? Never let her emotional state detract you from rational truth. Okay? You're going to watch this happen a lot of times where the man will instantly go along to get along and change his belief or change his statement on something in order to appease her, and this is not good. Okay? So never under any circumstances let her emotional state detract you from rational truth. If you know that something is correct and you believe something to be true, it is your job to make sure that you demonstrate it. That's very important. Now, number 2, her idea of love and who she loves is purely based on which man is strong enough emotionally to not be manipulated. Okay? Her idea of love and who she loves is purely based on which man is strong enough emotionally to not be manipulated. Now, number 3, what does this mean? This means that sex appeal and beauty is oftentimes her highest leverage form of manipulation. So what does that mean? Right? That means you cannot fall for the illusion of femininity. You see, beauty and femininity has this interesting effect on men. It makes you lose your judgment, and it makes you lose your character in certain ways if you're able to have your internal world of emotion changed. It's very deceiving because the way it's presented, when you're a man and you are attracted to her, is you look at her and she looks so sweet, so beautiful. You associate the beauty and the femininity with all good traits. Okay, and then the issue with that is you don't see that oftentimes that has a negative repercussion until it's too late. So there's a lot of guys who they don't know how to cope with these things. There are some men out there where they cope with this through drinking. There are some men out there who distract themselves from this with playing video games, whatever the case may be. But the truth is they just need a little bit more wisdom. They just need a little bit more wisdom so their mind opens up a little bit and they can see this for what it is. So that means you cannot be enticed through her beauty. You have to stay strong, stoic, calm, and rational. You have to understand that there's things that will make you lower your guard and change your judgment. That's not good, okay? Or that will make you, I don't even know if judgment is the right word. It will make you change your mind on certain things or get you to change how you see the world, and this can affect your emotional state. This is not good. Number 4. This is the 4th step to navigate this, okay? Women do not oftentimes see you from the outside in, they see you from the inside out. She is constantly asking herself, what is he made of? And she's constantly going to test your character to see if you have become weak for her beauty yet. Which brings me to point number 5. All you can control is your own actions. That's it. Which is why you need to live towards a peaceful state. This is why you need to actually grow and develop who you are, okay? Inside of our community, we've actually now crossed over 900 guys. That's a lot of people together. And next Monday, we're actually starting a challenge. I named it something that is obviously tied to, you know, everything that we're doing in the name of the community. I called it the Headman Habits 90-Day Challenge. So we're doing this amazing thing where I'm going to help all these guys, you know, start to get their life in order, and I'm going to show them the daily dedication and success habits that made me into who I am, so that way you can be the man that I know that you want to be. So I invite you to join us inside of that. It's below in the description inside of our community, but regardless, you have to understand this. This video right here is designed to help you. This video is not meant to make you become toxic. This video is not meant to make you have a bad worldview where you think all dating interactions are pointless and, you know, everything is negative. That's not what this is about. That's why I'm telling you, you are able to actually exercise frame and leverage over the interaction because you're not willing to be led astray. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because now, oftentimes she will look at you and she'll say, well, you're mean. I can't believe you're acting this way. Or, what do you mean that's what you think? Or all of these different things. But you have to understand, the word in and of itself does not necessarily have a negative association to it. What I'm explaining to you is how you can actually just see this for what it is. So in my opinion, this is a very important video. In my opinion, this is something that every man needs to internalize because you cannot change this with a bigger bank account. You cannot change this with more social media followers. You cannot change this by being 7 feet tall. You cannot change this by being charming. You cannot change this by being good looking. You cannot change this by having a perfect hairline. You cannot change this through having amazing style. This is something rooted, that I believe, into the dating dynamic of how people behave. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.